Car-Boyz! Yeah, we definitely are live. Here we go, once again, back with another show from the bowels of the internet that promises to entertain and inform, if not educate. No, we don't educate. That's the job of a certain state broadcaster who has far more budget than we do. We don't have any budget. No, what we are is just a little niche channel for those who want to watch something about cars, and we want to bring a smile to your face and hopefully a little insight into the world of motoring. Hello, one, and hello, all. Simon, has it been a good week for you?
It's been an interesting week.
Oh, really?
Leave it at that. Yes, an interesting week at work.
We need to talk about Petrol and the M25. That is coming up. Also coming up on the show, as I said, we've got all the news that's fit to print in the news. We'll be delving into your correspondence in the part of the show we like to call the mail bag, and as usual, it's bulging. We've got a great competition as well for you. It's called Give Us an Oil Change. Unlike the similarly titled ITV show of the 1980s, I shall be the host, Michael Parkinson, who will give you a very free Parker pen, just like this one, with every correct answer. You can't get cheaper insurance than that. And as I said, I'll be joined by the young Sammy Davis Jr., Muhammad Ali, after he was Cassius Clay, of course, and Billy Connolly. No, our quiz today will be all about servicing your car and how much you know. So our contestant this week will either play the role of Lisa Goddard or Lionel Blair, but I don't think he's quite as light on his feet as our Lionel, allegedly. Here's my co-host Simon.
Or as Camp, although definitely I don't dance around the place in my tap shoes.
I've seen you as you come into the room, you spin round.
With
Hello,
white trousers.
love. Yeah.
Well, maybe I do that a little bit on weekends.
On the weekends.
Let's say about that better. We have a great show for you on the way with some somewhere exciting and international and exotic in our Lost Highway section of the show.
Yes.
And we have a great motor for you in the classic. This week it is a little number called the Daihatsu Copen. That's what we've got.
Small and cute.
Small and cute. And we'll be asking how many climate change activists does it take to close the M25 motorway?
I don't know, Simon. How many climate activists does it take to change?
Not a lot, especially in my area.
Oh.
At my junction, they definitely closed it.
Was there about 3?
No, I think it might have been just a couple, if that.
Yeah, where's the water
hey,
cannon
put some
when you need
insulation in your loft.
Yeah.
Insulation in your loft, but we'll stop you from driving around.
It is like comparing apples to oranges, really, isn't it? It's like saying you do this, so you need to do this. I have a car that drives around the M25 that pollutes, but I also have a house with no loft flagging. Okay, what's that got to do? Oh, and before we forget, we also have China and India using brown coal and no filters on their power stations. I'm just saying, more on that later in the show.
Anyway, I'm Simon Sudron, and who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler? If you think we're on the run, we are the boys who will stop your little game. We are the boys who will make you think again. Because who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler?
If you think on England. Yeah, that should have been the Brexit anthem, shouldn't it? Simon Sudron there, who always likes to put his privates on parade.
Yes.
I'm Richard Green, and so meet the gang, because the boys are here. The boys to entertain, boys to entertain you. The theme tune there, of course, to It Ain't Half Hot Mum, which will never be repeated on UK Gold. Thank you very much, millennials. Sons of bitches that you are. And we do also have a new sponsor for the show. Before you ask, it's not AC/DC. I thought I'd crack out my original 1981 AC/DC tribute T-shirt made in Australia, so you know it's good, and it smells of a lack of vaccine. But yeah, I thought we'd crack this out. No, our sponsor today is it's E10 water. Not ELO water, not Jetblin water, because that would make your hair go very bushy. And you'd be after you drink it, you'd say "Prost." No, this is
over the world.
This is E10 water, and it tastes diluted. I promise you, it does. Very diluted, not very good in your car.
Yeah.
More on that later on. Of course, this is
It is
Car-Boyz.
Car-Boyz.
Welcome to the show. Talking to the woke generation, time now on the show for Richard's rant. It's when or even rant. It's
Ooh,
when I'd say,
Richard's Rand, you're very posh.
I've been
Richard
down
Rand.
here too long. I've been living in Richmond. I'm losing my Midlands accent. Yes, it's it's time for my rant, more rant, and it's where I take a sideways view of the world from my own, and I would argue, warped perspective. Unlike other sections of the show, this is not an open debate or even a mass debate. We do that later on OnlyFans. This is and we're not going to. We're not going to go down that road yet.
We can make money for that.
Yet. It'll be a very bloody niche audience that want to see me in the net with the old chap out. I'll tell you that for free. But if it pays. This is the totalitarian part of the show where I rule supreme as El Jefe. This week, I've been thinking about idiots on the M25, which, if you are listening from outside the UK, is one of our major motorways. It goes around capital London, pig of a road, even on the good days. The last week or so, idiots who want me to insulate my house, I don't really see the connection, have been blocking the road. Now, according to the boss of the Automobile Association, Death Wish eco-zealots who ran into moving, he's not mincing his words there now, is he? Who ran into moving rush hour traffic on the M25 could have caused multiple fatalities with their road blocking protests. I'm surprised White Van Man hasn't been out there killing them. Disruptive eco mob Insulate Britain brought the Surrey section of the UK's busiest road to a halt numerous times this week when protests stormed both sides of the 8-lane motorway. Drivers are forced to brake and eventually stop this at the on the 70-mile-an-hour speed limit. Yeah, nobody does that. After the group ran onto both carriageways from the hard shoulder. The eco warriors are demanding the government reduce home heating emission targets to zero. Okay. And therefore, they misguidedly thought they'd target car drivers, not houses. Anyway, but the decision by Insulate Britain protesters, my mother thought it was something to do with Brexit. She was like, what's insulate? And I'm telling her, and she's like, no, you've got it wrong there. It's something to do with Brexit. I was like, no, it's about putting lagging in your loft, which sounds like a euphemism for something. Edmund King, AA president, told the Daily Mail Online the actions of some of these protesters storming live lanes of motorway traffic are suicidal. It appears they've got a death wish. Meanwhile, RAC road safety spokesman Simon Williams also told the online newspaper that people were incredibly dangerous. However well-intentioned the cause might be, blocking the motorways is incredibly dangerous to both protesters and those inside vehicles. It comes as ringleader of Insulate Britain, who are demanding the government reduce home heating emissions to zero, claimed the movement was similar to the suffragettes. So all we can hope then is one of them that will be stamped by a horse at the Queen's horse, to be correct, at the next Royal Derby. The latest process at Junction 10 near Woking will heap yet more pressure on Priti Patel, who has called for police to take decisive action to deal with the repeat protesters. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Watchmen.
No.
It's sort of a cartoon movie, and it's set in a reimagined future of the 1980s. And one of the characters is called the Comedian, who's a CIA agent and a NSA agent, as well as being a sort of superhero. And he just starts taking out these protesters with rubber bullets and firing into the crowd and going, I love this. This is fantastic. And all I can think of when I see protesters is this guy. I'm like, I sort of want this guy to come around. Officers were initially overwhelmed by the group, who managed to get round police on the motorway, but reinforcements arrived within minutes. Obviously, they had to have a little sleep because they're very, very tired being eco-vegetarians.
Not enough energy.
Not enough. A bit tired. My blood sugar's a bit pale, yeah. Now, you know me. I'm an old reactionary. Heaven forfend, says Simon. Yes, you are, Rich. I think these people are nuts, but this will shock you. I agree with what they're saying, because I believe that insulating my home, not because I believe that insulating my home will cause the climate to change. No, it won't have very little to do with that. What will have to do with that is hugely polluting countries like India and China, and not us. I mean, me lagging my loft is a bit like trying to stop the water flowing over the top of Niagara Falls with an egg cup. Yes, pretty bloody useless. But no, I agree with these protesters. Let's all insulate our homes. Cut down on my heating bill. I love that. Paying less. I already have the double glazing here. I've got a lagged loft. I've got a couple of stoves that burn multi-fuel. So I do use very little gas central heating. Um, and now, hopefully, they will give me the free insulation, but obviously not the type they put on Grenfell Tower. That may make my home a little too warm. No, what I want is lots of free insulation all over the walls of my house. And who's paying for that? Who's going to pay for my kitchen to be re-insulated when they have to take out the whole kitchen? Who's going to pay for my wallpaper to be put back on? Because I haven't got cavity walls insulations in this house. It's a 100-year-old house. I haven't got that. Who's going to pay for my double glazing to be replaced by triple glazing? My combi boiler to be replaced by a new heat transfer one that apparently are about 20 grand to start off with. Who's paying for this? Yes. Yes. Wow. The hydrogen ones, I think, come in at 12, not 2.5 grand. I'm not paying for this. I tell you that for free. Now, if we're talking about environmental problems, there's a floating island called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in, strangely enough, the Pacific, between California and Hawaii. 79,000 tons of waste in this thing. There's plastic fishing nets, there's plastic bags, all sorts of things. Where does 75% of this rubbish come from? From, and this is according to the scientists, a couple of big rivers in Asia. And by Asia, of course, you know I mean China. Protesters blocking the M25 is not going to make anyone put more loft lagging on inside our lofts, but maybe a few more sanctions against a certain country in the East would help them clean up their act. It's just a thought. And before you say you need to act local, I believe we do. We all recycle in this country. We all drive far more fuel efficient cars than we did 20 years ago. And we all care much more about our environment. But a few nut jobs blocking a major highway in the UK is only going to alienate the majority rather than garner any other support. And we can just buy a few water cannons. Boris had a good idea 11 years ago. You can get them. What we need is police from the 1980s. You know, the ones that used to sort of hit the miners a lot.
Truncheons.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Simon?
It's right what you're saying. It's so the people you're targeting to make your point, because obviously they're not going for the government because the government aren't doing anything. So you're going to protest against ordinary motorists, who are the people that you want to support, you want to support your cause, but by blocking them, you're actually not allowing them to go where they want to go and what they need to do, and actually they don't have any empathy or sympathy for the cause. So I think it's causing problems.
There was a great guy on there that actually installs insulation in new homes, and he said, right, you're stopping me from doing my job, which is helping you is do what you're talking about. You're saying I want to insulate my home. Everybody should have their home insulated, and I'm saying yes, and I'm the man that could install it, but you're not letting me do my job. So you're sort of failing a little here.
Yes.
That would just be my sort of general thoughts on the whole matter.
The thing is, India and China are going through their industrial revolution now, so that's the reason why, and that's the reason why their emissions are worse than anywhere else over this side of the planet.
Also, they're making everything. The Chinese make everything. They make this iPhone. They probably made these glasses I'm wearing. They probably made this. None of this stuff's made here anymore. It's all stapler. They probably made this. Hang on, let's have a look. Oh, yeah, it's made in China. Oh, no, I can't actually see. It doesn't have anything on it. It's something. It's made somewhere. This is probably made in China. Not E10 water, though.
No.
That comes from Leytonstone. Is it time for some news?
London. It is time for some news.
News!
And already that's more production values than GB News. But first off, in little French friends set to conquer the streets of Le Luquet news, Citroën with their back to basics green electric city car, there it is in all its glory, cost around £6,000, is to be sold in the UK, followed unprecedented demand for it across the channel, which I think we also contributed by saying lots of good things about it on
Sorry
lots
about that.
good things about it on the channel a few weeks ago when we went to the motor show. Buses
Yes.
gave green light, or vert, that's green in French, to the quirky two-seater Amy runaround coming here in the spring 2022 after receiving more than 12,000 expressions of interest from potential British customers. The French car maker says the dinky car exemplifies the spirit of the legendary cheap and cheerful 2CV, or de cheveux. Powered by a 5.5 kilowatts an hour battery, the pure electric vehicle with zero emissions has a top speed of 28 miles an hour and a range of up to 46 miles. It recharges in just 3 hours. The Citroen Amy vehicle will be adapted to the UK market, which I'm assuming they'll put the steering wheel on the right side of the car.
No.
But will be sold only in left-hand drive.
Yes.
There you go.
Because it's
However,
almost, if you have, I haven't got a picture of the interior, but it's almost central. The wheel it's like a McLaren.
I didn't get close enough to see it.
It's like a McLaren had sex with one of those disabled vehicles from the 1960s.
Oh yes, yeah. However, the vehicle is so small that the steering wheel is so central that the cabin. This will make no difference to Britain's customers who are happy and willing to take the plunge. However, Citroën pointed out that one significant benefit of Amy's left-hand drive configuration when being driven in the UK is that it will allow the driver to benefit from exiting the vehicle at the curbside when parking on the roadside in city centres. It just means you have to park the opposite way.
That didn't really make any sense, did it?
No.
I mean, if you're
we're going to change all our buses.
Yeah, if you're a knob end, you can't. I can park a car whether it's the passenger side against the the near side against the harsh shoulder or the offside. I can reverse park a car because I'm not a dickhead.
Exactly. We've got one of those coming up later on.
The
French car, yes. The French car maker announced, due to unprecedented customer demand, Citroën is pleased to announce that the Citroën Amy will launch in the UK during the spring 2022. The 12,000 plus customers who have already registered interest in the Citroën on Citroën's website will, from today, be given priority access to secure their Amy with just £250 as a refundable reserve fee. From this coming Monday, which is next week, the reservation system will be open to all. So there you go.
Don't you think it looks like an angry Frenchman? Hello. Je suis Jean-Claude. Je suis très pissed off.
I parked on the wrong side of the road. It's only left-hand drive.
I like this because the body's plastic.
It is.
And
plastic.
the doors are the doors open different ways. So one is a suicide door and one's not. So they don't have to make new doors.
Yes.
So they only have to make one door, which is very cool. And I was thinking about this, writing this article, thinking, yes, this is angry Frenchman is the way to go forward. And then I had second thoughts, and I know you, with your perfect French, would go pourquoi, and I would say, well, for a start, it's only got 2 seats.
Yes.
So for my purposes, I've got one car that literally does. It only needs to do up to about 15 miles.
Yes.
It never really needs to get above about 30. It does. But I've got 2 kids, and that's not enough room in that. It's a 2-seater. And they're only 6 and 8, so I can't really give them the keys and say go to school. The range of 46 miles, the top speed of 28.
Yes,
it's only going to be useful around central London, and the problem is you're still going to have to pay for the parking, which I did today. On Wednesday near Paddington, which was £4 an hour.
Oh, an hour!
An hour, yeah. I parked in an NCP car park for 2.5 hours, and it was 12 quid. I nearly cried. So you're still going to have to, and that's £5,000. Or you could go and buy a 10-year-old Honda Civic, probably for about £2,000, and you could drive up to 90 miles an hour, and you could get out of London when you need to, and you can get 4 people in it, and you could go to the airport. And if somebody dings it, you won't give a crap because it only costs you £2,000. So I'm not sure this makes any sense now.
However, I do know your children, and knowing them, one of them will probably be on the roof of the vehicle.
And want to be on the bonnet, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Starsky and Hutch, they would absolutely love that. Un little French car. Vous avez écouté à moi. Vu anglais, vu rasbeuf. Right, that's enough of my appalling French. Meanwhile, in more dickheads caught by police than ever news, the Rozzers, as we call them in the UK, obviously not to their face, seized over 3,000 of these stupid things. Hello. Yes. Oh God. Hang on. Put it up again. Just let it. Oh yes, a real tool there. Yes, look at him. What an embarrassment. Mind you, at least he's not wearing net curtains at he was wearing net curtains last week, wasn't he? Around one of his legs. He looked like he'd been caught in flagranti with the neighbour's wife. And as he jumped out the window, her net curtains had wrapped round his one leg. I think that was at the Met Ball. There he is, Lewis Hamilton. What a tosser. And on a tosser of a machine. As I mentioned, 3,000 of these e-scooters have been seized by the police in the first 6 months of 2021, 5 times as many as they took in the whole of 2020. A mere 87 were pulled off the streets in 2019, 600 last year, but they smashed the record up over 3,000 this year in the first 6 months. Electrically powered scooters are powered transporters, meaning they must abide by the 1988 Road Traffic Act. Riders must have a driving license. They must have insurance in order to use them on the road. They are banned from this, which is, I was going to say, actually, lovely. Lovely. Yes.
There is a word for that.
Arse. Yes.
No, it's apparently Bunda.
Bunda?
Bunda is the street name.
I thought it was, what was that? Yeah, Baby Got Back. I'm going back to the 1980s. I don't know where she's got front, but yeah, that's fantastic. Sorry,
okay.
we're getting...
Is she ginger as well?
Yeah, no, that ticks your box. Yes, she is. There you go. Oh, she's got a big bank, as they say. I believe that's the other one, isn't it? A big bank. So doing this, unless you hire it, is illegal. Yes. In Metro, not doing that, but riding a scooter. Let's clarify what I'm trying to say here. Not doing that. Doing that might get you into trouble. But it would certainly get me into trouble. Now, the Metropolitan Police are leading the way. Officers have taken over 2,000 of the scooters off London streets from January to June, according to a Freedom of Information request obtained by the Sun newspaper. The only way to legally ride an e-scooter is to use one that can be hired from a company. Transport for London are now offering legal hire scooters as a trial. Great. Thank you, Asian Mr. Bean. Riders must have a driving licence and insurance to use them on the road. They are banned from the pavements and footpaths. However, it's impossible to insure a privately owned scooter. Anybody caught breaking the law could even face prosecution. But where do these people live? Where do the people that come... These things are driven everywhere.
Monaco.
Across the level crossing. Yes, across the... Obviously, they live... Yeah, that git. And this
tax exile,
and this idiot, the number one dipstick of the UK, he wants to keep them coming back, to have more of these on. I see these kids going around on these things. Obviously not as nice as that. What is the slang word the kids are using? I'd heard bank for bum.
Bunda.
Okay. Simon's a little more down with the kids. It's a little bit more street than me. Not very street here in southwest London, I should say. He's in the north. They're a bit more street. So they've got no training, no insurance, and it's been like this at least for a couple of years. I don't think people know, though. In their defence, people go and buy these things on the internet, and they don't know it's illegal to ride them on the road, which it is.
It's not illegal to sell them, so you can buy them on the internet. You can buy them. You can buy them in high street car shops without giving their name because they don't give us money.
Does it sound like Malfords?
Yes, that's the one.
Like Malfords, yeah.
Malfrauds, yeah. So you can still buy them, but you just can't use them.
Nobody has their private. Nobody's got a private aerodrome where they can use them. Every single person is buying this, especially that tax exile that's never going to get a knighthood from Monaco. Stop crashing into other people. That's all I'll say.
Exactly. Moving on, and in special delivery news, means has to be signed for. Postman Pat, and it's black and white. Go. in this case, ridiculous van.
Look at that boy.
Yeah, look at
Woohoo!
that. It says Royal Mail is embracing electric vehicles. Two separately designed vans will be assessed for 6 months during delivering letters and small parcels, because obviously you can't fit a big parcel in there.
No.
In Edinburgh, Crewe, Liverpool, Swindon, and London. The postal service, has already said it is testing drone flights to deliver packages to remote parts of the UK. The Royal Mail chief executive Simon Thompson said, "We're committed to keeping on reducing our environmental impact. We intend to leave no stone unturned in trialing new technologies and new ways of delivering to help us do that." Seen as, but do people still write letters?
God, I haven't written a letter for years. When did you last write a check? I found a checkbook the other day I had some guy done some work for me.
Yeah.
But it was in the last house, so that's like
Wow.
7 years ago.
He added that it is really exciting to see these micro-electric vehicles making their way onto our daily deliveries. From drones to electric vehicles, fuel-efficient tyres to bio-CNG trucks, we'll keep on innovating and reducing our environmental impact even further. The vehicles, which can accommodate more than the average daily rounds worth of letters, and probably a small cat as well, will be charged using a standard 3-pin plug. So expect Postman Pat to be asking to use your flex and plug in.
Yeah, can I plug this in? It's not working. I mean, that looks about the size of those boxes that they push around now on wheels. So it's really not that big. It'll just stop posties getting fallen arches. There'll be a lot of flat posties in there as well, I think.
I think it's push over, I think.
I know, that's the problem. Especially the area you live in.
Yes.
The mean streets.
North
You're gonna get teenagers nicking this thing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hooray! Going down the road. Whoa!
Chase after him very slowly.
And you mentioned bio-CNG trucks. Didn't they
Yes.
have a hit with in the sort of the early 90s? CNG trucks? I'm sure that was a band.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh no, maybe it was Snap I'm thinking of.
They have the power.
They got the power, indeed. And finally, in old-time rock and roll news, the Porsche 928. I'm trying to think who was the guy that sang that. I got that old-time rock and roll. Bob Seger. Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Yeah, exactly. The Porsche 2.8, driven by Tom Cruise in the 1983 film, this is why I'm singing this song, Risky Business, has sold for a staggering 1.98 million at a US auction over the weekend, setting a new world record for the German sports car. Went under the hammer alongside a raft, or as we say down here now in southwest London, raft, of collectible American vehicles at the Barrett Jackson auctions, or as posh people say, auctions, in Houston, stealing the show with a staggering bid not foreseen by experts. There's no surprise, given the mint example of the 79 Porsche 928 is, like the one sold, is estimated to be valued literally at only £30,000. Wow. Wow, this is a fraction of what the new owner paid in Texas. 3 928s were used during the shooting of the movie. This, though, is the car that was featured most heavily, racking up the screen time and Tom Cruise seat time during the making of the cult flick. And I did say cult flick. It's also famous for being the car in which Cruise learned to operate a manual gearbox ahead of appearances and other motor-related films, including 1990s Days of Chunder. The actor, of course, played a NASCAR racer, Cole Trickle, because, as we all know, Americans can't drive shift. The previous world record price paid for a 928 was 217,000, which is a lot less for a 26 in 2016 for the Club Sport prototype example, which is the only one of 5 made. That was factory race team driver Derek Bell's for about 10 years. Most expensive movie car, of course, of all time was $4.6 million paid for in 2010 for the Aston Martin GB5, which was used in the James Bond films Goldfinger and Thunderball. The winning bid far exceeded expectations. Put my false teeth back in now. Also, does this help Tom Cruise drive away from those gay thoughts? It's just a thought. It's very nice. I wonder who bought it. I wonder if Tom Cruise bought it.
That would make sense if he did.
Seen Risky Business?
I think so. Years and years and years ago.
You'd never get that film made now. He's a teenager who I think he teams up with Rebecca De Mornay, who's like a madame.
Hold on, I'm thinking of Rebecca De Mornay
I
now.
know, I know. Well, back then, not so much now, but back certainly 40 odd years ago. I think she was married to Leonard Cohen as well.
Just take what I can get.
He romanced her with his voice. Beautiful singing. Leonard Cohen. Let me sing you a love song. But yeah, it's a film about. So they go to his parents' house and they set up a whorehouse in his parents' house.
Yeah.
But it's sort of played like, oh, this is fun. You'd never do it. It'd be smart. The woke crowd today would not
Can't have that.
accept that.
No.
And that is the end of the news, and I believe it is time for the classic car selection.
It is.
I'm just waiting for the band to strike up. Okay, chaps, off you go. Where are they? Oh, hang on. We're missing the drummer. Just give us a second. Give us a second. I think he's in the corner asleep. I'll just give him a... Come on, boys. Oh, no, now. It's all gone pear-shaped. Hang on, here they are! It's time now for the... We do a Sean Connery classic car selection on Car-Boyz.
Yeah. Drum's got something around his nose. Needs to just, brush it off.
He's been watching Great Britain's Bake Off, I believe. It's icing show.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he's really into that. He's not, he doesn't abuse substances at all.
No, not at all.
That finished quite nicely, didn't it?
That's nice. This week, the classic car is a little Japanese number. It is the Daihatsu Kopen. It looks like this.
Oh, yes.
There you go. It looks like a training shoe. It was designed with a 660cc turbocharged engine in order to meet the Japanese key car regulations. However, since the engine did not meet the environmental emission standards in several other countries, the Kopen was fitted with a more powerful 1.3-litre non-turbo engine from its sister, the Ciron, in these markets in 2007. It was the cheapest proper roadster on sale, and I think, yeah, it was. The transplant mean that the Kopen lost its original key car, or K car, either or, whichever you want to call it, its status, which meant lenient tax laws in Japan for microcars under a certain length and twitchy engines under 660cc, but it proved more performance for less cash. Incidentally, the name Kopen is a combination of Ki, or K, class car, and Open for open convertible roadster. That's how it gets its name. The spelling was changed from K to C for convertible. Fans of traditional British sports cars should look favourably upon the Kopen because it serves up the smile and thrills as MGs and Austin Healey's of the 1960s. Small car, small engine, bit nippy, and charismatic. It's only has a folding metal roof to convert between proper coupe and open air roadster with the flick of a switch. The Kopen is far from the most macho car around, so yeah, if you look like Dolph Lundgren, you probably won't fit in.
Yeah, I was going to say you really want to be under 6 foot to drive this because you're going to look a little bit ridiculous.
Maybe Tom Cruise.
Isn't he 6'8"?
No.
I thought he was very
he's
tall.
about 3'12" or something like that.
I do like him playing the role of Jack Reacher in the Jack Reacher's a series of books written by a guy who comes from Coventry. He used to be a TV director. I'm trying to think of the and in the book the guy's an ex-military colonel, a military policeman, ex-colonel. He's about 6'8". He wears triple XL shirts. He's a proper bloke's bloke. And then they went and got Tom Cruise to play the role.
Oh.
Just saying. So Tom Cruise, if you're not going to buy that Porsche from Risky Business, you could buy one of these.
Yes, it is no nonsense. It's simplicity at a bargain price. Kopen was never built with left-hand drive for the first 4 model years from 2002 to 2005. The right-hand drive Kopen was officially sold in Germany for some European countries from 2003 to 2005 with a smaller 660cc engine. After a lackluster sales in Germany, the right-hand drive Kopen was introduced with a bigger 1.3-litre engine, which was announced in 2005. Sales numbers declined greatly in 2007, and the Kopen was withdrawn from German market in the summer of 2011.
Yes.
Nippy It's definitely a word you would definitely use for this. Around town, the coping is excellent. You'll beat most things off the line because of those tiny K car dimensions. It's only about 3.5 meters long and 1.5 meters wide, so that is great for the city streets. Gear change is precise, and you're in love like revving the nuts off this car. Something you have to get a lot from the engine because you have to rev it. Chassis is well balanced, and as you dive into the corner, the ride is quite bouncy though. You feel like you're pogoing from corner to corner, which isn't that great. It might be at home on the twisty stuff, but around town. But this car is no cruiser. Tread on the throttle at anything over 70 miles an hour in fifth, and very little happens, apart from a lot of noise and screeching. Daihatsu may have extended the gear in, but the Copen feels like it could do with a sixth gear. So what do you look for in a car like this? Well, the Copen was designed for the Japanese market, so salt is not used on Japanese roads during the winter, so it therefore has only minimal corrosion protection on the car. When sold in the UK, the corrosion protection was not increased enough to handle the UK winter with salt on the road, so always check for that. Check on the undersides. The main problem area is the rear wheel arches, usually at the top of the trailing edge. Some Copens have had a warranty work carried out to replace the affected panels. Check the leading face of the sills. That's just behind the front of the wheels. The halfway point on the sills where there's a plastic cover on the sill panel or join can also show signs of rust. Rust can appear in any place where paint has been chipped and has been untreated. Alloy wheels also, they corrode as well. Moisture gets under the lacquer, so you have to make sure those are all right. The Copen alloy wheel has a polished face with painted inserts in the holes. To refurbish some of those wheels will cost you about £100 per wheel if you were going to do that. And if not bothered about keeping the original finish, a simple face powder coating for the wheels can be done for as little as £50 per wheel. Check the boot underneath where the jacks and tools are. Moisture again in the boot can collect here, causing surface rust. So the main enemy just simply is rust everywhere. The centre brake light on the boot lid can also allow water into the boot if the seal has failed. Check the carpets for moisture. So, how much would you buy one of these vehicles for? Well, you can get into Copen motoring for around £3,500, but if you spend a lot more money, well, not a lot more money. I found this one. It has got, what has it got? This was today, 67,000 miles on the clock. It's a 1.3 litre manual gearbox, and you can pick this up for £5,200 today.
That's nice. Oh, I like the. Is that sort of a red or is it?
Yes, look at that.
Red.
Squint. It looks. Look, it's an Audi TT. No, it's not.
Yes.
Audi TT. No, it's not.
And that has got the folding tin top roof. They all had the folding tin top roof, didn't
they? Yeah.
Which was
so
for the time.
There you go.
Which for the time was a real innovation on a car that small. Interesting you talk about the rust, because the sills are where my old Daihatsu 4-track rusted.
Oh.
It didn't rust anywhere, and then that was a 4x4, so you'd have thought they would have galvanised that. It rusted in the sills between the front wheel and the back wheel, and I used to periodically just get an angle grinder, grind off all the rust. A little bit of filler. Yeah, rust kill it, little bit of filler, spray it, and sort of 18 months later, I'd have to do the same thing again.
Yes. So there you go. If you want a quirky motor in the Daihatsu Copen,
I think it's a perfect thing for the weekend. If you're going away for the weekend, something for the weekend, sir. A condom and a Daihatsu Copen. I think your barber should give one away with every haircut. Yes, well done for that. It's a cheap end of motoring. A classic car selection.
Speaking of cheap ends of motoring,
yes. Speaking of cheap ends and other things that are coming out of other ends, of course, it's time now for. Ooh, bit musical next time. Let's try again. Bit more musical. Oh no, that's not so musical. Hang on. Oh yeah, that one was fantastic. Of course it is the turd of the week, or pick of the pups. Over to you, Simon. It is.
It's time where we examine one of the terrible crimes committed against cars from across the world, from driving a 1988 Nissan Micra on run-flat tyres for the rest of life, even putting sawdust into the gearbox. We basically find a car that's crap and for sale across the world. A terrible car that dared to mount the pile of feces to be crowned the glorious king of the hill. It is, of course, on Car-Boyz time for the pick of the pups or turd of the week. This week, I'm looking forward to this one. We had an email from Bob in Bristol. Hello, Bob from Bristol. He saw a motor for sale on a popular auction site that sounds like Torto Raider.
Yes, Torto Raider.
Yes. It's not. You can't tell what that is. No. He thinks it's the worst small car he's ever seen for sale. I know your other half just thinks it's the worst small car full stop.
Yes, my wife hates this car. Or as she calls it, the Ford CAC.
Yes, she does. I like them. They're good. It's 13 years old. It's a 57 plate with 291,000 miles on the clock of the 1.3 litre engine. That is actually unburstable, that engine. It's the old Kent engine.
Crossflow. Okay.
Yeah. And they just go on forever. Not surprisingly, it has no leather interior, no heated seats, no electric windows. It has nothing. But it is a manual and comes with 3 wheel trims. And it's up for, guess how much? £300.
Tell me. £300, which sounds like a bargain.
So, Rich, why should you buy this vehicle?
Well, you shouldn't, in a word. No one's ever loved that car. It's been used and abused by a number of people and families. The current owner explains, reliable and cheap to run car, can't even bloody enunciate properly, that we've had for a few years. See photo from failed MOT that lists what needs to be repaired. This can be done easily. We've just had a baby and needed a 5-door car, so we haven't bothered to repair it ourselves. And I always love this. I can't be bothered to repair the car and sell it. Okay then, up yours. Why would anybody want to take on it's your problem, it's not my problem, it's your problem. How much does it cost to clean the car, put a new set of wheel trims on it, polish the bloody bumpers so they match the black of the car, because they looks like they're faded and gone grey.
Yes.
The MOT failure is an issue with the suspension, and I had a look, and that's probably going to cost about £300 to fix. When I owned my Daihatsu 4-Track, it was a 1997 car, I managed to bust the gearbox. I destroyed the 3rd gear. So I had to pay £700 for a new reconditioned gearbox. And then a few weeks later, I sold the car for merely £1,200. So I took a hit, but I made £500 back.
Yeah.
Without doing that, I would still own that bloody car, because nobody would want a Daihatsu 4-Track with a 3rd gear missing. So I suggest to this young man, go out and sort the problem out, get it fixed, clean the car, clean at the bumpers, and maybe, just maybe, if you're really lucky, you'll get £500 for it. So you're going to make a £200 profit. But why bother with this advert? Because nobody's going to buy this. Nobody wants it. Alternatively, if you're on a new car, drive it to a garage and part exchange it for maybe 150. But congratulations to Bob from Bristol for spotting our pup of the week, or pick of the pups.
We shall call him Bob
from now on. Well done, Bob. But it really annoys me, these people who go, it don't work, it could do with a clean. Off your bugger then.
Exactly.
And get on eBay and buy a set of wheel trims for £12. Polish the black, even if you got some boot polish, divot.
That would work.
And polish the black into the bumper. And I didn't even bother printing out. It looks like somebody's vomited on the inside. We've just done a baby, so we couldn't. Yeah, okay. Your problem. Why did you just waste £25 on this advert in Torto Raider? We're not sure. So yes, make sure you keep those coming in to Pup of the Week. Pick up pups. 3rd of the week. There you go. Oh, excuse me, nurse. Excuse me, nurse. They need to call the doctor after that one.
That felt like one of those ones when you walk in and it accidentally you just.
My favourite is to do a bit of crop dusting around. It's usually, well, not that I actually go shopping anymore. But it's always fun to do a bit of crop dusting, and you suddenly realise how bad it smells. And I'll be in something like a supermarket. I just whisper to the wife, "Run!" And you can see somebody walk into it, going, "Oh my God, what is this?"
The drains round here.
What is this smell? And you're on the other side of the store. Yes, that's quite a fun thing to do. I'm trying to find, my music appears to have died on me. So
remember, you can sponsor the show if you want to sponsor us.
Please do.
We'll be happy to get the band keep going and
Yeah, that's what we
Best.
do need. Because it's time now for this music. Because here we go.
Is this on Elvis Live in Hawaii or something?
It is. I got a blue in Hawaii, sitting on the toilet, having a heart attack. Oh, thank you very much. It's just one I recorded earlier on with one of these many guitars put behind my head.
Nice.
Well, I like the look of my sister. Always said she got a pretty mouth. Stop that now. I don't know where we were going.
Don't go there. That music signifies it is, of course, time on the show where the feature that we are going to be doing, it's a feature where viewers email us in and give us their favourite roads and the reasons why they love them. All the details on the screen now. It could be a quite coastal road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight two-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to come the pedal to the metal, whatever your poison is. Let us know your perfect driving roads here on the Car-Boyz show. And into the Car-Boyz inbox this week, it's Jenny Jen who says, boys, have you ever been to Tahiti?
Do we look like we've been to Tahiti? Oh, well, you do more than me.
Bit of tan.
Yeah. You've been to Mauritius.
Yes.
I've been to quite a few. I've been all over Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Labuan Bajo, in Flores, Bali, Java, Sumatra. Vietnam, but I've never been here, not to Tahiti.
Tahiti is the largest volcanic island in the French Polynesia. It is full of waterfall-laden mountainsides and sweeping black sand beaches. The road around Tahiti Nui?
Nui, I reckon.
I think so, Nui.
We did Nui.
Is 114 kilometers long. That's 72 miles in proper money. It is 54 kilometers. That's 13 miles from Papiti to
Tavares?
More than a woman.
The woman, more than a woman, more than a French Polynesian island to me.
Yeah. It's along the east coast. That's 40 miles. This is significant. Why it is in different mileage returning from the west coast. Unusually, on the land side of the road are red top concrete kilometer markers in French. They tell the distance every kilometer between Pahipati and the Isthmus of Tavares or Tavaro or Tavara. That is the distance from. Why these viewers give us some difficult names? But Pahipati to Tavaro.
Now all I can think of is Disco Inferno. Didn't they do that as well? Burn, baby, burn.
No, it's not the total number of kilometres around the island, so it's actually just it's the distance between places. It's not a proper mileage. Wouldn't
that be the total distance around the island? No.
That's what you thought, but it's not. It's only halfway around the island. That's how it's worked out.
I once climbed a mountain in Malaysia, and it had 10-metre markers. And we were like, God, we've only done another 10 meters, but we worked out that was going upwards. That's what the markers were for, and you're not actually doing 10 meters. You're going upwards 10 meters, which could end up being sort of 500 meters.
So if the gradient
on the gradient, yes,
steep,
yes.
Jen Says avoid getting started up in morning and evening weekday rush hours. Landslides on the east coast can close the round Island Road. So ask the car rental agent if you're hiring a car, or the staff at the visitor bureau if it's opened all the way round. Is that a Daihatsu?
Okay, it does look. I was trying to see that earlier on. I think it does look like some. Yes. It is like a K car or something. I've never gone out that far to French Polynesia. I had a Tongan rugby shirt once. That's as far as I got. You do look. There's a touch of the rock about you, more like the pebble. So you could be from. I'd love if you went on Tinder and put just like the rock and put a picture of the rock, and then they got to the date. This woman's like, "Well, where's the rest of you?" Or you could go in on stilts. Lots of cushions pumping you out. No, it's a long way to go. My mate's sister taught in Fiji. She taught English, and he went out to visit her via Los Angeles because that's apparently the quickest way. And he came back and he was like, "It's Australia, but more so. So you go past Australia, and sort of keep going.
Wow.
So it does sound like a nice place, though. I do like a tropical island. Now you're not a massive fan of. I believe you like
How
to go
ironic.
to the cold countries. I love a bit of heat. And French
As opposed to me,
Polynesia.
who's just on heat.
You're on heat. Yes. You need to start putting something in your tea, some bromide. Last but definitely not least, Kurt smells like Teen Spirit 94.
Oh, it's
Emails
30 years since
Is it?
Nevermind was released. Yeah.
Oh, never mind the Buzzcocks. Oh, it smells like Teen Spirit and the album.
Yes.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear the story about the kid that's on the front cover that's now 30?
Yes, he's suing. Yeah, I think he's suing for royalties or.
He's suing for royalty. He's suing because apparently it's affected his life. Yeah, it's made you a load of cash, you gimp. You've never had to work. It's free bloody money. Nobody cares who you are. And you get to be... I have a claim to fame. Similarly, the front cover of the Pink Floyd album Wish You Were Here is
Yes.
two people shaking hands.
Yes.
The guy not on fire is, or was, because he's passed on now, my friend's father.
Ah.
It was done on a movie set, and they said one of the guys has got to be on fire, and he walked in. He represented a lot. He walked in on fire, so that would be perfect. Smoking a lot back then. It was the 1970s. He walked in, and they said, "Would you mind being in this photo?" And he was walking in to see. He was a solicitor. It was a lawyer.
Yes.
And one of his clients was this actor, and he went to see him, and he said, "Yeah, sure," and he never got paid anything for it. He just was like, "Cool, I'm on the front cover of Pink Floyd album."
Rock and roll.
Yeah, very rock and roll. So yes, Kurt smells like Teen Spirit 94. Emails from Seattle in the United States and says, "Dear Car-Boyz, I know you dudes, and we are dudes, love music, so why not come over to my place where grunge started? Of course, Seattle. Why not? Hang on, I love this. Chuckanut Drive. It sounds filthy. I suppose it could either refer to a nut coming off the wheel of your car, or
Probably, yeah.
yeah, hopefully that. Chuckanut Drive is a premier byway, sometimes referred to as Washington's Big Sur. It's actually called State Route 11. The 24-mile curvy route hugs the sheer sandstone cliffs of Chuckanut Mountains, and it's the only place where the Cascade Mountains meet the sea overlooking Samish Bay, offering gorgeous views of San Juan Islands and Chuckanut Bay. It's located between Bow and Fairhaven in Washington. Chuckanut Drive is not a time-efficient route, so if you're in a rush, be sure to take the 1-5 or the I-5 instead, and save this curvaceous beauty for an occasion when you've got a luxury of time. A leisurely Sunday afternoon, perhaps, you can stop off the scenic overlooks, peruse an art gallery, or get a great meal along the way. The picture you've printed out, Simon, is this from 1942? Because it's been bloody colourised. Look at it. I was looking at this going, this has been colourised. Dean Martin's going to come in a minute and start singing about getting drunk and being me too.
If you are writing into us and all those details, send us a high resolution picture that
Yes, of Chuckanut. Thank you very much for that, Kurt Smells Like Teen Spirit 94. I've never been to Seattle, but my brother has, and his mate used to teach snowboarding in the winter and apparently surfing in the summer, because the surfing is pretty good. Because in theory, it's the same coastline as California where surfing happens. So
I'd like to go to Seattle because that's where they build planes. There's a big factory that builds planes.
Vancouver as well. You could pop over to Vancouver. Why you'd want
And
to,
see
I don't
Bryan
know.
Adams. Or David Kidd Jensen. One of them's from Vancouver, I can't remember.
Is David King Jensen a Canadian as well? I didn't realise he was Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian. Yeah, he's Canadian.
Bryan Adams certainly is. Very boring. Never really liked any of his
Canada.
music. And what was the hit he had? Everything I do always reminds me of picking beans in a field, because that's what I did that summer. That hit was number one
For the whole of that summer.
I pretty much had my radio gaffer taped to the front of my wheelbarrow. I was picking beans in this field to pay for me to go to America, but not to Seattle. I've never been. So I would love to go. If we get some sponsors for this show, maybe we could actually do the Lost Highways out on location. Email the boys at car-boys@outlook.com. Facebook car-boys at Car-Boys with all the Zs. Twitter us car-boys with a Z at car_boys with a Z. Instagram at car_boys with the 3 Zs at the end, and we will endeavour to get your thingamajig, your letter and your requests and your driving road onto the lost highways. The music is baffling me again. I'm going to try and find out where it is. Ah, here it is.
Sponsor us.
Of course, it is time to open up our mailbag. It's getting rather full and rather heavy.
Ooh.
Letterbollocks.
It is Letterbollocks.
It is
known
time.
as the mailbag.
Yes, it is.
Darcy in Leicestershire.
Leicestershire.
Yes, that's all right.
Upon the
Car-Boyz.
Thames for our American viewers.
Says, all right, boys of the car. Darcy is like Darcy from, was it the Smashing Pumpkins? One of them was called Darcy. The lady
I don't
in Smashing
know.
Pumpkins. I think so. She says she's a fan of the show, hey, and wants to know what to think of the Suzuki Alto and to be kind about it. She's thinking of buying a 2012 Suzuki Alto.
It's early in the
Alcopop.
evening, dear boy. I know the sun is down.
Suzuki
But,
Alcopop, manual petrol, 42,000 miles on the clock with 2 previous owners in white with full service history.
Nice.
For sale at her local garage for
Okay.
a little over £2,300. She needs the car to commute to work, which is 20 miles away, and then visit mates in Nottingham and Leicestershire. She has no claims. She has no claims. Ooh, that makes it interesting. As
Yes.
previously drove a company car. What do you think? That's always good, having building up your no claims on a little tiny car like that.
yes. Low insurance. Make sure you get the little
Yeah.
black box thing. That'll monitor your driving via satellite. It'll bring your
It would
insurance
lower your
costs
insurance down. Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
It's very cheap. Car. It's going to be cheap for car to insure. I mean, there's a lot of car. It's a 9-year-old car, 2,300. It is what's the mileage? 42, which is nothing. I like the colour. See, this is the problem when we're talking earlier about the Citroen Ami.
Yes.
Why not buy one of these instead?
Hmm.
Because the only thing
Does
you
the
can't
same
do with
job, yeah.
this, I guess this is ULEZ compliant. The only thing you cannot do with this is drive it free into the congestion charging zone. But who wants to go in there? So,
Or hug a polar bear.
or hug a polar bear. What you can do is take this on the motorway, I guess up to about 80 miles an hour. Put stuff in the back, have 4 or 5 of you in the back, commute to work. You know.
One on the parcel shelf. One on the roof.
In fact, both my parents had. See, I like to show off my 26 years no claims.
Ooh, nice.
But both my parents had company cars for years,
Yeah.
and then they left their respective companies and they decided to get their own cars. And my dad was like, "It's really expensive." I said, "Yeah, but you've got no claims.
Yeah.
You may be in your
Yeah.
50s, mate, but." And for a long time, he paid a lot, and the same with my mother. And now both of them have built up that 6-7 year,
Nice.
whatever, no claims.
Yeah.
I was going to say now he's in his 70s, and he's starting to find it's going up again
Yes. This is true.
because he's an old fart. Moving on, Martin in Chichester says, "Hello lads, love the show. First time emailer, long time listener. I like that."
Yes.
He asks, I'm about to head up to Scotland for a few days. Do I drive my 2010 Mercedes C220 diesel, or do I fly from Gatwick to Edinburgh and hire a car? Which will be the cheapest to do? He is travelling with a girlfriend. Simon, this is almost a question for you.
Why, I don't have a girlfriend. Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Or a Mercedes.
Or a Mercedes, yes. I drove all the way up to Glasgow on a single tank of petrol, which cost
Wow.
me less than 60 quid to fill it up to the brim, and bootled around Glasgow city centre, and then drove all the way back down on another tank of petrol. So it cost me about 120 quid in total for petrol.
Well, he's got the diesel, and I had a look at his car. I'll do his car work first. So
Yeah.
it's from where he is. Chichester's a lot farther south than where you
Yes,
are
it
in
is.
North
Yeah.
London. So it's 900 miles there and back in total.
Yeah.
That's £120 worth of fuel because his car is quite fuel efficient because
Yep.
it's a diesel.
Mm.
But that is a long way to drive. I have driven
It
from
is.
London to La Rochelle, and when I got there, I was ruined. Now, I'm not talking about the rest of Scotland. He is driving. That's just to Edinburgh. So if he wants to
Yeah.
go to Fort William, or he wants to go out to the west to the
It's another
Hebrides,
few hundred miles, yeah.
There's more and more driving up to Stirling, more driving up to Aberdeen, more driving to the Highlands, and I assume that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I am a massive fan of cars. I'm a massive fan of driving. There's no way I would do this for a week's holiday. I would fly drive it. Now, I had a quick look on Tinterweb. 2 people fly from Gatwick to Edinburgh. At the moment, 60 quid each return.
That's really good.
Hiring a Fiat 500 from Edinburgh for a week, £110 at the moment.
Okay, that's
for a
not
week.
bad. Yeah.
So that's a total of 230. So it's almost double the 120. But you're not going to be knackered. You're going to park your car near Gatwick or get a friend to drop you off at Gatwick, which is near Chichester. Have a nice flight, get your car, and when you drive out of Edinburgh, I think you're saving time. I think it's almost a no-brainer. I think if you've only got a week, time is precious. You do not want to spend 2 days going up and down. You did a much more of a tour of England. You were like, you went to the Lake District, you went to Manchester, but also you're the other side of London, and sort of you're going. I mean, he's going to have to come up from Chichester, go round the M25, get onto the M1, go up the M1, and he's not stopping off anywhere. He's going to go straight to Edinburgh. So my brother-in-law's just done it from the Midlands, but that's 100 miles north of London.
Can I also say he's going with his girlfriend, so that could make or break the relationship.
Hire a car. Just hire a car. Have some cheap drinks on EasyJet. Have a few drinks, and then get a little Fiat 500. Plus, the fastest car in the world, as we all know, is a hire car.
It is. So there you go. Jake the Snake has Jake the Snake written in before?
Yeah, he has.
Yes.
He bothers us a lot. Go away.
Good. Jake the Snake in Miami says, "Hiya, Car-Boyz. Thinking about checking out a new car over here in the land of the home and the brave. It is, of course, the land of the home and brave and the land of the free. Would you like your comedy English thoughts? I would like your comedy English thoughts on the American still. He's thinking of buying a 2017 Cadillac all-wheel drive.
Not that one. That's a Camry.
Full leather 2-litre turbo engine with 265 bhp, white leather interior. Full electric pack, full service history, 32,000 miles on the clock, full Cadillac service history. What do we think? For a big American car, 2-litre, that's quite small.
It is small, but it's got a turbo.
It has 265.
So you can buy these with a massive lump in the front. Depends how much driving you're going to do. $24,000 seems a bargain for this. 4-year-old car, so that's about £20,000. It is going to depreciate between $1,000 and $1,500 per year. You would not get this. This car will not be available over here for that sort of money.
No.
I mean, I'd love one of these. When are we moving to the show to Tampa Bay?
We would look so cool rocking up in one of those.
They do range in price, and there's various different versions. And I know that's a small engine. A 2-litre does sound a small engine to an American, but the way a lot of motoring is going now is whacking a turbo on the front.
Yeah.
You're going to lose money on it. £24,000. I quite like that in the blue.
Yeah.
I did see a very cool white one. You'd look like a drug dealer in Miami with that, wouldn't you?
It's also got a big enough boot you can put people in.
Yeah. Hey, you could put a few keys in the back of that thing and a few bodies. Where's Tony? Don't worry about it. He's sleeping in the back. With the fishes. I think it just looks very cool. I hear really good things coming out of Cadillac, and contrary to popular belief, everybody was saying that they were going to stop making the big saloons that they're famous for. They're famous for grandpa cars. But the penny's dropped because the grandpas of 20, 30 years ago are dead. The grandpas now are the baby boomers born between 1945 and 1964, and they want big, fat saloon cars because they ain't got any kids, but occasionally they have the grandchildren, and they want it in auto, and they want all the buzzers and bells, and I love the lights on the front, look cool.
That is cool, very cool.
Yeah, so, why not?
Bad.
So it's a lot of car for very little money, and it's probably a Mercedes underneath, last generation. Finally, we've got Tom, talking of Scotland, in Fort William. He's got
hello.
Hello, Tom. Okay. It's probably racist now, I can't say that. We're about to rebuild the wall. He's got a 2004 Toyota Camry.
Yes.
It's got 98 on the clock. I'm just going to get rid of his reg. Just think he doesn't want to be doxed reg-wise. Reckons it's worth around £2,000. This is the car. Send us a quick pic. Oh, you can still see the reg, but never mind. I'll flash it quickly. There you go. There's Tom's car. £2,000. How do I sell it? Internet, local newspaper, sign in the shop. What I wouldn't do is get a piece of paper
Leave it on the street.
with the keys in it, and write on a piece of paper badly with a biro, and then just sellotape that on the inside. Car for sale, and a mobile number. If you're going to do that, and I have done that with cars, make it a nice little sign. And put it in the car nicely, and put all the spec. It's got leather, it's got heat front seats, it's got this on the clock,
Tissue box on the parcel shelf.
tissue box on the parcel shelf, beaded seat in the front, little crown on the dashboard, a pair of boxing gloves on the rearview mirror, blue underlights, little ULEZ sticker on the back. They'll definitely think this has been used as a minicab by Mr. Habib. Now, if I had an expensive car over £5,000, I'd use Auto Trader, but this is £2,000. I'd firstly try for free Gumtree. I've sold a number of cars on Gumtree easily. I think it's free for cheaper cars, but it's not that much. It's like 10-15 quid for cars over £1,500, and you can. We've got lots and lots of stuff on there that you can put down. Make sure you put everything about that car in the advert, and if it has got dings, put that in the advert as well, because then people go, okay, I know what I'm buying. But if it's got really good wheels, if it hasn't got chips, just show that. People can have a good look at it. As many photos as you can. Clean the car, wash the car, polish the car.
Yes,
I've got cars for super cheap when people have gone, this car's mint, and my wife's car was covered in dirt. There was layers of crap all over the inside, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, my daughter's been using it." So I went, "Okay, 3.5," and he was like, "It's on for 4.8." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. Look at the state of it." And it had a very slight mark where she'd caught something on the offside, rear offside, a very slight, but
Insulation protestors.
Yeah, but all I did, yeah, exactly. On the M25. There goes one of their heads. Those vegans, their heads are so squishy. And all I did was polish it out. So when I cleaned the car, it looked. My wife was like, "This looks like a brand new car. Put some decent mats in it. Just make an effort when you sell a car. You are trying to sell it." So yes, that was that. That was the mailbag. Thank you very much for that one. And I believe it is time now.
My favourite time of the show.
It is favourite time of the show to strike up the band, if I can find them again. I'm really going to have a word with them. They do keep dropping off. Strike up the band, and here we go. Well, let's start that again. Let's try and do it properly. Here we go. Competition time now on Car-Boyz. Yes, of course. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It is, of course, competition time now on the show. And this week's quiz, it's Quiz of the Week. And this week's quiz focuses on... I'm trying to find the audience. The audience there? Ah, wonderful. The audience are there. This quiz is called Give Us an Oil Change. Yes, I'll be asking questions about servicing your car and how much you know about from changing spark plugs to getting an MOT. Like the ITV show, excuse me, Give Us a Clue, but not too much like it for copyright reasons, obviously. I shall be playing the role of Parky Michelson, and I shall be joined by the young Sammy Davis Jr., a 1970s Muhammad Ali, and the ever-popular Scots comedian Billy Connolly. And let's not forget our free Parker pen. You cannot get life insurance cheaper than this. But that's not why you're called. No, our quiz today is all about servicing your car and how much you know. Our contestant this week will play either the role of Lisa Goddard or Lionel Blair. But I don't think he's quite as light on his feet as our Lionel. Allegedly. My daughter keeps going, allegedly. She's 8. She doesn't know what allegedly or what this means. Bunny ears. Hello, Simon. Welcome to the quiz. Are you ready to play? The prize, of course, is our free Parker pen.
Ooh, exciting.
And our life insurance, which is not worth jack shit. So here we go. We'll start off easy, very easy. How often,
Right.
on average, would you take your car insurer for a service? How often would you take your car in for a service? Is it A, every 6 months, B, every year, or C, when blue smoke starts to come out of the tailpipe?
Doesn't it not depend? Would it not? So I would usually do mine a year, but then I don't really travel that far, but then yeah.
It is a year or usually
6
a year or every 10,000 miles, depending on
Yes.
how often you use the car. So I've always gone by 10,000 miles, and if not 10,000 miles, it's a year. It's a bit like your cam belt, 60,000 miles or 7 years, whichever comes first. If your cam belt is made of rubber and it's not a chain, your timing belt.
Yes.
Which of the following? Question 2. So you got that correct. Hey, which of the following is not tested, and I said not tested, during a full manufacturer's service? A, the wheel alignment. B, the windscreen washer fluid. Or C, seat belt tensioners. Which of the following is not tested
Ooh.
during a usual manufacturer's service? Wheel alignment in A. B, windscreen washer fluid. Or C, seat belt tensioners.
I'm going to take a guess on this one because would they do seatbelts? But I'm going to say wheel alignment.
I'm afraid
Ooh.
you're wrong. It was. Your first thought was better. Seat belt tensioners.
Ooh, there you
They
go.
are not tested. I think mainly because they're not. They don't. I don't know why. Because they do perform part of the MOT, but they just don't test it. Question 3. You're going to get this one. What is the minimum legal tread depth for road legal tyres in the UK? The minimum. Is it A, 1.6 mil, B, 1.9 mil, or C, not until the white tread starts showing through, son?
I was watching a TV program from Australia where the police had stopped him because the canvas was showing through.
That's my grandfather, honestly. They're fine. And I'm like,
I don't
they're
have any-
bald. They're
Don't have any
fine.
money on me. What was it? First two options? 0.
1.6, 1.9. 1.6, yes, you're correct. 1.6!
Yes.
And here's a tyre that my grandfather would have thought was absolutely fine.
Part slicks.
Oh, slicks, nothing wrong with that. A little bit of canvas, you'll be alright. Of course, back in the day, 50, 60 years ago, that's how you did your motoring, but it wasn't a thing. Staying with tyres, what is the maximum enforceable fine for having tyres under the legal tread in the UK? The maximum. Is it A, £1,000? Is it B, £1,500? Or is it C, £2,500? The
Ooh.
maximum.
I don't know. I think there's also 2 points per corner. But I'm going. Oh, Road Pirates Rage. Yes. I'm gonna go for the middle. 1,500.
I'm afraid, hard to believe, but true, it's wrong. It is 2,500
Ooh.
for one tyre, one corner. That's the maximum enforceable. Don't worry, you could still win this Parker pen.
Has your mic moved?
Sorry?
Has your mic moved?
Oh, sorry. There we go. Sorry, apologies. I was just trying to get this picture close enough to go.
Road Pirates.
Who do we think we are, sir? Nigel Bloody Mansell. Who do you think you are, sir? Mario Andretti. I just love the police. They're hilarious. Now, 30 years ago, my little brother was driving around in my mum's old Fiat Panda, 3 ball tyres, and a handbrake that didn't work. It was a £200 fine and 3 points.
Nice.
If he did that now, he'd lose his licence.
Yes.
And I think the fine would be £2,000. Yeah, it's 2 points
per
corner, plus the fact the handbrake didn't
Yeah.
work either.
Yeah.
But if you will drive around in the English countryside as he did with dreadlocks, what do you expect? They almost knew that car must be stinking of weed. He's a very responsible person now. Question 5. What is the main thing that gets changed every vehicle service? The main thing that gets changed usually when you have a vehicle serviced. Is it A, the engine oil? Is it B, the gearbox oil? Or is it C, that smelly little Christmas tree that hangs from the rearview mirror?
It is, of course, the oil that gets changed.
The engine oil, yes, of course, not the gearbox oil. Every 10,000 miles or so, and then we found a picture of you on the internet changing your. Oh, there you are. You've got a goatee.
Yeah, nice. And a pink shirt, purple shirt.
And a purple shirt. And you're just about to go on television and ask, is it a red pepper or a green pepper or a red tomato? Of course. So I think we've got 3 out of 5 so far. So yeah, you're in line for winning the Parker pen. You can't get insurance cheaper than this. That's because it's shite. Number 6. What does this dashboard warning light mean? What does this dashboard warning light? And before you answer, I have got some suggestions. Is it A, low coolant? Is it B, engine temperature fault? Or is it C, beware of lobster pots floating in nearby seas?
I'm going to go for, was it low coolant or...
Low coolant, engine temperature fault, or beware of lobster pots floating in nearby seas.
I'm going to go for engine temperature fault.
Which would be the correct thing to do.
Yay!
And, I mean, gone are the days when I had this pop up, you just pull over the road for half an hour and wait, and then carry on driving.
So do you have a temperature gauge on your car?
I
don't.
I don't think I do. I think I might have a warning light if it gets too hot.
Yeah, by which time it's probably too late and your pistons are fused into the block.
I have a temperature gauge on something that I own, though.
The fridge.
Maybe the lawnmower has one. There is now I'm thinking there's a temperature gauge on something I own. I own 2 Honda. Maybe it's the old Honda. Maybe it's the wife's old Honda. Moving swiftly on. What does this dashboard warning light mean? Is it A? Hang on, let me get in there. Is it A, insecure fuel cap? B, tyre pressure fault? Or C, loose exclamation mark inside the engine?
It is, because I have one on my car. It's the tyre pressure.
It is the tyre pressure indicator, which on Fords are terrible because they corrode and they go off all the time, as my uncle found out for Galaxy. And on my old BMW, always working correctly because they ping off. They used to ping off on my old Beamer when it got slightly hot, and when one of the tyres, the run flats, went completely flat, didn't indicate this at all.
Yes.
Actually, if you turn it that way, it looks like one of the Bash Street Kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Tyre pressure indicator, Bash Street Kid. So well done. So we're up to, yes, where are we now? There was a couple more. I think, we've got 5 out of 7 there. Question 8, staying with warning lights. What does this warning light on the dash mean? Does it mean A, faulty horn? Does it mean B, faulty brakes? Or does it mean C, car being affected by loose exclamation mark?
Is it not the previous sign, but instead of the tyres running flat, they're just bald? Is that what it's telling?
Oh, yes, or bulging.
It is the brake thingy.
It's brakes. The one I always see all the time because I forget to take the handbrake off. Correct. So what are we up to now? 6 out of 8. Yes. I think you, along with my other guests on tonight's show, are likely to win this lovely Parker pen. Of course, it's not Parker pen. With a full service, what can you expect? Okay, I'll start that question again. I've started ding dong, so I will finish. With a full service, you can expect your air filter to be what? To be A, replaced, B, cleaned, or C, removed?
Replaced.
You are, of course, right. Yes, we'd expect it to be replaced. And we've got a picture here of Simon's recent air filter, and obviously, I wish my wife was this dirty. The state of that.
Some kind of grass.
I think there's a hamster in there. I think there's a hamster or a mouse has taken up home in the old air filter.
It looks like weed. It looks like weed in the...
Maybe it's one of those. Maybe it's my brother's Fiat Panda from the early 1990s. Who knows? With his dreadlocks.
With the hamster that powers the car.
I think it was 955cc engine. Probably it did like 25 to the gallon. Great car. Nice easy one to finish with. What does a dipstick do? Does a dipstick A, mix coolant into the engine? Does it B, check the engine oil levels? Or does it D, or does it C, do a shitty job of being Mayor of London? What does a dipstick do? He's shocked there at that. Does it A, mix coolant in the engine? Does it B, check oil levels? Or does it C, do a shitty job of being Mayor of London?
It does the the two. There's a trick question. There's two. That
Actually,
dipstick doesn't.
You are completely correct. It does check the engine oil levels. It does
Yes.
also do a shitty job of where has he gone now?
Rodney, you dipstick.
Rodney, you dipstick, of being Mayor of London. And according to some girls I've gone out with in the past who know nothing about cars, it also mixes coolant in the engine as well, or so they believe. Not all girls. My wife wouldn't know that. She's very
I've got a
knowledgeable.
story like that.
Oh, really?
So
About
the
your
ex-
dipstick being mixed with
Yeah,
coolant
so
in the
the
back of a car.
ex-
Bet you have, you filthy boy. Go on.
filled
Sorry,
her
thank you,
car
Brad.
up with oil, but instead of
Yes.
putting it into the engine block at the top, she made a little funnel and pulled it down the dipstick.
I have heard this before. I don't know whether I've heard this off you. I've heard this off other people. That must have taken about 5 hours.
This was obviously this was before I went out with her, but she did tell me that story and said, "Well, yeah, I did that once. I put it down."
It sort of makes sense, but how old was the car? Because you do on the oil, there is a picture of an oil can.
Yes, and it's usually yellow that tells you that's where it is.
I thought you were going to tell me that she'd put it into the windscreen wipers, into the windscreen washer bottle. Can you imagine? Can you imagine
Smearing.
that? Black.
As an MOT
Just
foul.
black. Oh, what's going on? Mind you, they'd go really quick, wouldn't they? Because of the oil. They go, oh, they're really great. It'd start to rain, you go, they'd probably be flying off. You'd be driving along going, I smell oil in the car. I don't know what's going on. Fantastic, so well done. Yes, of course, as Michael Parkinson would have said, you've won this wonderful Parker pen, and welcome to join me anytime here in the studio with Muhammad Ali and the late lamented David Niven. That's about it from the show. Thank you very much.
Did you ever do a show with Emu as well?
Oh yeah, Rod Hull
Yeah.
attacked him when I
Yeah.
was on the BBC. I hated that bloody bird. It attacked me, and as a journalist of many years writing for the Daily Mail and the Mirror, I was not happy, but still willing to obviously sell my soul for an insurance company, Sun Life. Can't get a pen cheaper than this. That's it from the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will try and come back next week. We'll endeavour to do so. And keep your letters coming in to the usual address. You know, Car-Boyz, just go back, rewind, and have a look at what we've said, and you can have a look at the address. And then it's a good night from me, and it's
Good night from him. Bye.
see ya!